y'all. How is everybody doing? We, and by we I mean me. I don't know what's going on with my little green screen, y'all, and why my layout isn't quite working. But you know what? We're just gonna go with the flow. Let me go ahead and share this with the Facebook audience. Talk amongst yourself while we get into this. We are going to be discussing How We End by L.M. Juniper. And give me just 1 second and we will be ready to go. Let's see here, friends. What are we doing? What are we doing? Let me see. Lobby, what are you doing? I don't know. Here we go. It says I'm live over here. All right, now let me just see if I can share this out. Look, I'm gonna like my own post and then I'm gonna share this. Hey y'all, let's talk about How We End by L.M. Juniper. Okay, there. Now we are gonna be cooking with gravy. So let's hop on in here. Because like I said, I'm probably just gonna put my big head out of the way real quick. Let's make this full screen. There. Now this is what we can look at. I wonder if I do this. No, let's make it full screen because it looks better than what I got going on here. Okay, so today the book that we are discussing is How We End by L.M. Juniper. But first, before I jump into that, hey everybody, hey live stream viewers, hello replay viewers. Happy Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Month. Today, like I've said like about 8 times, but I can't say it enough, we are going to be discussing How We End by L.M. Juniper. Oh, you know what, y'all? Let me go in here and see if I can't pull up these folks' what you call it. What am I trying to say? I got to pull up something here. Hold on a second, y'all. Let's see. You know what? We're gonna keep it pushing. We're just gonna keep it pushing. All right. So, let's see here. Oh, you know what'll help me? I need to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. That helped me on my end. It probably doesn't make a huge difference for y'all, but it makes a tremendous difference for me. So this is the book that we are discussing today. If I hadn't said it already, I'll say it again. Happy Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Month. This is part of the reason why we're reading this book, although I didn't realize it when I heard Elm talk before. He is not American. He was actually he's actually Indonesian and Balinese roots. He was adopted, so he grew up in Sweden. So his accent, which he has commented on himself, is a mixture of a lot of different things. And sometimes if you're listening, you can hear all kind of layers. It's a very rich, layered accent. I totally love it. So anywho, the narrators, let's talk about him real quick. So this is Elm. He's a gamer, a writer. He loves good action-packed adventure with just around a right amount of angsty romance. Think Romeo and Juliet with a sprinkle of explosions, a healthy dollop of snark, and a happy ending eventually. These are the narrators for our books, Savvy Des Estages and Nathaniel Priestley. They both have been trained in various schools in England, and they are good actors. They really help bring the audiobook alive for me, which is why I want to acknowledge them as well. As most of y'all, pardon me, as most of y'all know, I tend to do a tandem read. I listen to the audiobook while I'm taking notes from the printed book. It just helps my neurodivergent brain a little bit better that way. And what also helps it is when we have wonderful voice actors, voice narrators, such as the two here today. So let's move on from there. So basically, the basic gist of this book is a deadly infection, seven strangers, the fight for survival begins. And this book falls in several different genres. I would say dystopian horror, post-apocalyptic, urban fantasy, and LGBTQIA. Although I don't think that, well, I was about to say I didn't think it had a large part to do with the book, but I think it does matter in the way that it is presented. Ooh, let me. I touch something, y'all. Y'all know I like to touch all these buttons, and then I act shocked when I don't know what's going on. Okay, so let's read a brief synopsis. Jake didn't think his night could get worse, but that was before his train stops deep underground and zombies attack, and things go from the worst day ever to run for your life terror. Liv is good at running, mostly from other people, straight into a bottle of vodka. But as chaos erupts on the city streets, depending on others may be her only chance at survival. London is gone. The world has ended in chaos. The world has ended. In the chaos that remains, seven strangers fight to escape the city. But as they navigate this new and dangerous world, they soon discover that surviving the apocalypse means confronting their deepest fears and making unthinkable choices. How We End is a heart-pounding, diverse story with the character-driven plot that explores how societal collapse forces ordinary people into extreme situations and reveals the lengths they'll go to survive in a world gone mad. Will they make it out alive, or will they become just another casualty? All right. So that is basically the book, the synopsis. This book just came out in 2022. And as far as I was able to find, there wasn't a ton of awards that it has received. And that's a shame because it is a very well written book with a very wonderful world building, action paced, not too much, very diverse, and it conquers deeper philosophical lessons without being too preachy. So those are some of the themes and tropes that we're going to discuss today are going to be found family, loss and grief, regret, addiction, and community growth. Oh, let me pop my head in here real quick, friends. Pardon me. Let me see how I'm going to pop my head in here. We could do this. There I am. I wonder if I could do this. There, that's much better. Hallelujah. Let's bring my head up here. There we go. Hallelujah. Then that's less of that weird green screen. I wasted a whole bunch of time putting that up. That irritates me, y'all. It irritates me. But that's okay. So before we jump into this book, let me go ahead and read some content information. Some folks call them trigger warnings, but I want to go on and read them because Elm took the time to place them here, so let's respect his wishes. Content information: violence, gore, addiction, mass death, including the young and vulnerable, suicidal thoughts, no one dies, transphobia mentioned, not explicit, dead naming once, child abuse mentioned, not graphic. Please take care of yourself while reading. To be quite honest, I didn't catch the dead naming part. Not that it wasn't in there or that it's not significant when it happened. I just didn't catch it. Thank goodness. Okay, so there is that. These are some of the things that we are going to be discussing as we talk about this amazing book. By the way, again, we do have print copies of it, and it is also available for audio on Libby. Let me just check the comment section and make sure my phone is turned down because I don't remember doing that, friends. Okay, I think everything is okay on my end. All right, let's go here. Oh, you know what? I will have to pull up something from my files, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, so we've read the synopsis. This is the book. I had a wonderful, wonderful time. Oh, this is where I should pull this up. Sorry, friends. Let me make myself small again. I'm going to make myself little. And then I'm going to pull up this. And then I'll share my screen. That. And let me pull up this other one. And then I'll share my screen. Pardon me. Speaking of deadly virus. Woo, y'all. Well, let me get over here. We're not going to talk about deadly viruses other than the one in the book. But y'all know what I mean. That old Hanta virus coming around. My goodness. Let's see. Okay, there's share screen. Perfect. Okay. So at the start of the novel, we meet our main character, which is Jake. He is in the London Tube. He just got off work. He's a tube driver. And for Americans, the tube is their subway. So Jake is a subway driver. Interestingly enough, so is Elm in real life. So he's in the tube. He just got off work, and he is on his way to get broken up with by his girlfriend. Just so you can have an idea of who Elm had in mind when he was writing the character Jake, let me get on this share screen thing, and then I'll show you. Share. Boop. Okay, so that is a picture of Jake. He is Korean. He's tattooed. He is a, what do you call him? He's basically positive masculinity, golden retriever type energy. And you can see he has the trans flag back here. So our good friend Jake is also trans. And then let's see on this other thing. Oh, I didn't mean to get rid of you, Jakey. Hold on one second, friend. We're going to remove that, and then I'll go back to sharing my screen. And then I'll show you my favorite picture of Jake. Let's see. Stop screen. Boop. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to share it again because I want to show you what Elm had in mind. Let's see if this is the right one. Where did Jake go? Where did Jake go? Okay, let's do cancel. Let me pull up this other one, y'all, and then we'll get back to the business of fancy dancing. I'm going to get rid of that one. We're going to pull this one up. That's not the one I want. Let's go back to the top one. I think it's helpful to have an idea in your mind. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's helpful to me. So let's go back here. We're going to hit share screen. I'm going to tell it where to go. And we're going to hit share. Okay, there go Jake, y'all. Okay. So I don't know about the rest of y'all, but Jake might make me feel safe in a zombie apocalypse. This right here is from his Instagram, not Jake's, but Elm's. And people are complaining about trans characters. This is what this post is about. Zombies are okay, but not trans characters, which is kind of weird to me. You can believe in some evil monsters, but people who are sitting right in your face are not real. Oh, okay. Bunch of weirdos. Anyway, that is Jake, our good buddy Jake. I'm going to take this out now, and we're going to put this back in here. Okay, so that is who we are talking about. Yes, Jake is a trans character. Elm is a trans man, but it is not... Oh, let's hit stop sharing that tab. It's not a large part of the story. It is a part of it because Jake's a part of it, and it is his identity. I like the way they handled him coming out. And a lot of people who were criticizing, who had criticism of that particular part of the book, didn't understand why it had to be there. And that's probably because they don't know any trans people in real life, or at least they don't know that they do. They're not safe to come out to. So they probably know some and they just ain't been told. And the reason why Elm put this in here, or put it in there the way that he did, is to show people that trans folks come out all the time. They have to feel safe to do so, which is why half of y'all don't know that you know trans people, because you ain't safe. I wouldn't tell you either. It can be dangerous if you trust the wrong person. Okay, so let's see what else. Oh, another thing too, the book alters between the two main characters on the cover, which is that's Liv and that's Jake. Liv has substance abuse problems. She is a former surgeon. We get into her backstory a little bit, but she has uh, substance abuse issues. She has suffering a loss of tragedy, of a loss of child. One of her children dies, so she's suffering from that, and she feels a lot of guilt, a lot about a lot of things, to be quite honest. So, anywho, they are on the subway. This is where all of our characters meet each other. There's 7 of them. There's Jake. He is a prepper as well as a tube driver, or a subway driver. He is also a prepper. So Jake really comes in handy in this zombie apocalypse, because back at his house, he's got everything they need to survive this stuff. He's taken classes. He knows how to read a map. He's got supplies. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Something is going wrong with the tube. They are on there, and there's this one character on there. Jake's on there. Liv is not on there yet. Roy and Angela are Black Americans from Louisiana. Their daughter is going to Cambridge, or one of those hoi polloi schools. I'm sorry, Cambridge. No, I'm not. One of them hoi polloi schools, and they're dropping her off. And they were headed back to the airport, Heathrow, to go back home. So that's Roy and Angela. There is Noah on there. We don't know his name at first. I think they were calling him Prince Charming. There's Francis, who turns out to be a nurse, and Farina, who is a bit of a criminal element, so to speak. They're all going to do things, carrying on about their day when this tragedy strikes. The whole gist of this is, or the underlying theme of the story is, when the world falls apart, who do you become? And as in most horror books, zombies, vampires, werewolves, all that, the monsters are not the actual monsters. The monsters are just a vehicle to discuss human behavior. And then we find out who the real monsters are. And it's never the zombie. It's never, ever the zombie or Dracula or whomsoever. It is always people doing horrible things during horrible times. All right, so we have laid out our 7 characters. Now, they say 7 people. I'm going to say 8, because Karma, Jake's dog, is a character in and of herself too. She loves Jake, and the best thing about it is nothing bad happens to Karma, y'all. She's a good girl. She's the bestest girl, and she don't die. So, yay, I'm happy about that. Thank you for that too. I think Elm mentions that. Sometimes you're going to hear me say LM or Elm. That's because Elm said that we could call him either one. He uses he, him, and they, them pronouns. So you'll hear me probably consistently refer to him as him and he, but I'm also probably going to say Elm or LM, because I like to shake things up. All right, so where are my notes? Okay, so they get stuck in the tube, and it's taken a long time. So, like, the train driver is like, hey, there's some kind of commotion. Just sit tight, people. We're going to figure this out. Jake has noticed that there's a gentleman who is kind of coughing and angry. He's sweating. Jake thought he was claustrophobic, but then his nose starts to bleed. Of course, Jake, being the consummate prepper that he is, has towels, tissues. He gives it to him. Come to find out, that dude's infected. He is infected. And they have been underground for, I would say, maybe an hour. Enough for them to start playing poker and drinking. Um, and that's when Jake gets called up to the front of the car to have a discussion with the actual driver. Jake tells the people, they all know that he works for the tube because he understands what's happening and what's going on down there and that they just have to wait. And then the driver lets Jake know, hey, there's something weird going on. I don't think we're moving. And then they realize they have to get out of that train because that guy starts going a little nuts. The guy whose nose was bleeding, who was being cranky. And at first, everybody thinks that he's just having a rough time. But then they realize, he's coughing. There's something wrong. There's a riot going on. Jake has to figure out how to get these people out. If memory serves, because to be quite honest, I read this book a long time ago. And I do believe that it starts to flood in there and they have to get out before the flood happens. So they're walking and Jake gets as many people out as he can, but he can't get everybody out. And so a lot of people end up stuck down there and dying. And because Jake has a savior complex, he ends up blaming himself throughout the book. He gets over it eventually, but that is just kind of who Jake is. So anywho, Jake gets as many people as he can out of that tube and up to the surface. Among the people who he helps to liberate are Liv, Roy, not Liv. I keep saying Liv. She don't come until later because she passed out in her truck drunk on the top surface. She actually gets woken up by people who are trying to ask her to save them from the rioters. They think they're rioters. They're fungal infected zombies, okay? If any of y'all have seen The Last of Us, it's those kind of zombies. I'm only referencing that. I've never seen it. I ain't watching it. I love Pedro Pascal, but I ain't doing nothing scarier than The Mandalorian. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Anywho, I think he was in The Last of Us. I don't know. I feel like he might have been, but I've never seen it and I never will, so I don't know. Anywho, Jake helps to liberate Roy, Angela, Noah, Francis, Farina, and some other girl who ends up dying, y'all. She ends up dying, so I don't forgot that girl name. So they are up top. They are running because it seems like mass chaos and riots. And they're like, I don't know what the heck is going on, but we need to get to safety. They all get together because they realize that these people are infected and they don't want to catch it. They don't yet know that they have an outbreak on their hands. But Jake is like, hey, I don't live too far from where we are. If you think you can get to where you need to go, go. But the rest of y'all are welcome to come with me. So, of course, the black people. Oh, by the way, Angela is an ex-cop. Her husband, Roy, is a restaurateur who also is a forager. Like Alexis Nicole, who is the black forager. I think she's using her proper name now instead of the black forager. Anywho, so he comes in handy because he knows how to forage and smoke meat and preserve and do all kind of things. So anywho, they all split off. They realize that they need to stay together in safety to help combat the marauding hordes, which, like I keep saying, they don't know that these people are zombies yet. They just know they're angry and dangerous. So they all do that. They all get to Jake's house. They get as much stuff as they can, including Karma, which is Jake's dog, and they get on and skedaddle out of there. They're starting to realize slowly but surely, hey, something's not quite right. These people are a little weird. As they are trying to make it to Jake's parents' house in the country, which let me show you because I think I have that in my slide. They have to get out of London. Jake ends up, yep, here it is. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Dinner. Let's see. I think I can maximize. Boop. And let me see if I can get that out of my way. So this map right here is the country town, Huntingdon, that they end up going to from Lancashire. That's not right. Manchester. That's right. Where they get out of Manchester. And so you can see at the key down at the bottom, the house, that's Jake's house. There is a fish market that they meet on top of when they are trying to forage or go on raids or talk to other groups of survivors. And then there's a fire station and all that. So anywho, that is Jake and them. Let me see if I can, what's this next slide? No, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so anywho, that is nope, nope. Hold on, friends. Do do do. No. There we go. So they just imagine all hell breaks loose. You don't really exactly know what's going on because you haven't had a chance to hear from the news or the government yet. You just know you have to get out of there. So as they're at Jake's place, they are getting supplies, getting the dog. Somebody does turn on the news. They hear a broadcast, and at first they're being told, "Hey, this is some weird attack." They think it's a terrorist attack. But then they're like, hey, you guys need to hold safe where you are, shelter in place, shelter in place. Jake is like, I ain't sheltering nowhere. I'm going to go to my mommy and daddy's house in the country because he gets a phone call from his mom and she's like, come home, Jake. Come quickly so that we can go and meet up with your daddy because his dad is in the military. So Jake and his ragtag group of people decide to go do that. He does have some battery on his phone, and he starts getting he gets a call from his little brother, and the little brother is telling him, hey, something's wrong with mom. She's acting funny, she's being mean and aggressive. And this is after they realize, hey, this is a zombie outbreak. So Jake realizes, oh no, my mommy is a zombie, and he has to tell his little brother, hey bro, don't let mommy back into the house. She acting a little funny. Don't let her in the house because there is something wrong with her because Jake's mommy is infected. So they're trying to get there. Farina is a criminal element amongst the group. Which her whole night she was just trying to go sing karaoke because she's trying to turn over a new leaf and not be a thug anymore. But life had other plans for her. So anywho, she knows how to pick locks and whatnot. She knows how to pick locks. She knows how to do sketchy things that come in handy in a situation like this. Oh, good. Good. Oh, people shared. Thank you. Thank you to whoever shared my live. I appreciate you very much. I don't see any questions or comments here, so that's okay. All right. That is okay. Let me look here. Oh, wow. I've been chatting for 27 minutes. Okay. I had to keep up with the time so I don't go over time. So, anywho, Farina also has an auntie who has a houseboat. It's a longboat. If you are not familiar with the longboats in London, there's several rivers that run through London, and there are people who live full time in these longboats. They have to move their boat through the locks every 2 weeks so they can find a new spot. But it's really an efficient, cost-effective way to live. So they are trying to escape and get out to the country because the issue with any kind of zombie outbreak or any virus outbreak is the more you are, the more populous situation you are, the more dangerous. You have to deal with the zombie outbreaks. You have to deal with looters. You have to deal with a lot more than if you were out in the country where there are less people and less chances for these problems to occur to you. So that is what they decide to do. They're trying to get out to Huntingdon. I think I said that right. Let me look at my map real quick. Because it's English, but it's British English. You know how like Edinburgh is not pronounced the way it looks like it's spelled. Don't go to Edinburgh and pronounce it Edinburgh because you're gonna get told you're wrong. Huntingdon is where his family house is. So they get on this houseboat. They are cruising down the river when they see these zombies on the side of the bank. These zombies are smart. Some of them are a bit shamblers, like in Dread Nation. They kind of slope. There are some other ones who are a bit smarter, kind of like the ringleaders, and they can rally the other zombies. So this happens to their little houseboat. They're on there, they're dry, they're trying to get food, they sleep, they are trying to rest and recuperate. Jake has gotten bitten by one of these things, but it did not break his flesh. He had on a leather jacket. Remember those pictures that I showed you of Jake? He's a tattooed, pierced up biker looking Asian man. And so he happened to have on a leather jacket that they did not break through. But you know how, like, if let's say you get bit by a dog in a leather jacket, he might not break his skin, but it don't feel good that he's clamped his chompers down on you. That's what's happened to Jake. They were trying to go to this hospital to see if the hospital knew what was happening or to get supplies. And that's when they realized, holy moly, this is a zombie outbreak. Help us, help us. That was on the way to Huntington. And that is when Farina, the ex-criminal, I need to quit calling her that, because the whole point of this story is that you should not be held hostage by your past, basically. So let me quit calling her that. Farina, who is from around the way. There, that's better, because I'm from around the way too, Farina. We got a couple of criminal elements in my, I just said I say criminal elements, but I know how to do some things that folks might not think was above board as well, Farina. But hey, anywho, so Jake has gotten his shoulder's in a great deal of pain. Even though he's not infected, he's gotten a great deal of pain. That's why they went to go and get supplies from the hospital. The reason why they had ended up doing that as well is because when they were on those houseboats, they meet up with these other people whose houseboat is running out of gas, and the zombies try to attack them. Those folks end up going their separate ways after they liberate one another, and they wind up at Jake's house. Now, this is the deal. When they wind up at Jake's house, Jake's mama is a zombie. She's in there trying to claw her way back in and get to her son. They end up scuffling and whatnot, and Jake's mother infects her own child or kills him because she's a crazy zombie. Jake, or somebody, has to kill Jake's mom, and his little brother bleeds out from this artery right here. I don't know what it's called. It's not the aorta, but it's a big femoral artery or something. And that little baby, he was just so scared and sad and cold. And so Jake has to deal with a lot. Now, one of the people, Frances, is a nurse, and so she knows a lot of different things. Number one, she realized that Jake is trans because he was taking his T, that's testosterone. He was taking his testosterone, but she's a nurse, so she ain't thinking nothing of it, because she is a trauma and addiction nurse as well. She also knows that Liv is suffering from addiction. And so she's able to spot these things. But to be quite honest, they have bigger things to worry about. They got a zombie apocalypse to live through. She ain't really caring who's trans and who's an addict or whatnot. Are you helpful? Do you have skills? Speaking of which, one of the criticisms that I found of this book, because as per usual, I listened to or read a lot of interviews for this book, and I read reviews. And one of the reviews, several of the reviews kept saying things like, well, this book is like they liked the pace of the book. They liked that it was a diverse story as far as characters and experience go, but they felt like it was too convenient for a lot of these people to be put together. Roy just happens to be somebody who owns a restaurant, and he knows how to wild forage, but he's not from the UK. He's from America. So how does he know what's good to eat there or not? Same thing with Angela being a cop, I think she's either an ex-cop or she is a cop. And so on and so forth. There's several people like that in this ragtag group of people. And I just want to say this, that I find it very plausible, as somebody who works in the public. Let's say right now, if something horrible were to happen and we had to shelter in place at the library, and we are in here, I'm in the basement, but there's several people up there. On any given day, you never know who's going to be in there and what kind of skills they have. I, too, am a wild forager. I can identify medicinal plants. I can identify medical plants. I even know which plant we could use to start a fire. Milkweed, by the way, milkweed shells. If you see them things, poof. If they're dry, just light it up. Also, Vaseline is flammable. That's why they won't let you use it when you're on oxygen in the hospital, because poof. So you can use the Vaseline to start fires too. You just need a match or some kindling or that with a stick, and then you make a spark. Anywho, so I do find it very plausible. The deal is this, because Elm is also a train driver, what do you call it? A subway driver in real life. He sees a lot of the public that most people don't. And so I found it very plausible because I see a lot of the public that most people don't. Like right now, if I were to go upstairs, there's probably a nurse or a doctor. I worked at Rawlings on Sunday. There was a professor of Hispanic history that I talked to in the building right next to me. So I do find that plausible that these people just banded together, probably because Angela is a cop. She recognized crowd control and who to go with. And if I was in her situation and I saw Jake, who said, I'm a prepper, I have this, and this, and we can go to the country, I'd have went with him too. And I think the nurse did that as well because she's also good under pressure and recognized, hey, I can't get to where I need to go. I need to shelter somewhere where some people are going to keep me safe and well fed. The other thing is other people were talking about, there's a conversation that Angela, who's African American, Black American, is having with Jake when Jake comes out to everybody later in the book. Because he's just like, he doesn't want people to think that he is keeping something from them or lying, because these people have been tossed into an impossible situation. And again, one of those things that we talked about was found family. And they were starting to rely on one another and really care about one another really quickly because they really ain't got no choice. And so he has a conversation with somebody was like, they needed some chocolate. I think one of the ladies had started their period. And then they were like, oh, as if you'd know what that's like. And Jake goes, well, actually, I would. And then he goes on to explain, I'm trans. And he's waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it just doesn't. It doesn't. That's the one thing that I liked about this book. We'll get back to that in a second. But some people found the conversation that Angela and Jake had, they said it was preachy and nobody talks like that. And I'm like, well, friend, let me see if I can make my head bigger. That's okay. I beg to differ. As a Black queer woman, I promise you, I have had those types of conversation with my trans family and friends. I promise you I have, because there are things that overlap in those two identities where people won't accept you for who you are. People won't accept your lived experiences. People have an idea or a stereotype of who you are. And they don't know what to do when you're being your authentic self and it doesn't match up with what they thought was what they thought you were, with who they thought you were. That's it. And so I find that sometimes people don't realize that. That's one thing, number one. Number two, when people are complaining about, oh, all these people just happen to be together and da 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 da. That's part of the reason why when we are reading books and we do the live stream, I talk to you about the author and who the author is as a person. So I've already let you know that Elm is trans. What some of you might not know is, I want to say, somewhere around 60 or 70% of trans people are also autistic. And that is a huge driver of this story. It's underlying. Elm has not said that he is trans, or Elm has said that. Elm has not said that he's autistic or anything. But as someone who is autistic, I can tell you, in my group chat of autistic friends, I got a whole bunch of people who have a whole bunch of skill sets. Elm did tell you that he was a gamer in the introduction. And so sometimes with gamers, there are a lot of people who have a lot of different sets of skills that can come in handy in a pinch. Elm has said that the character that he is most like in the book is not Jake, other than them both being Asian. Jake is Korean, Elm is Indonesian. But he said he's most like Noah. Noah is a cosplayer. Noah ends up telling the people, hey, I cosplay and I can sew or make anything. If you give me the raw materials, I know how to filter water. I know how to make a shield. I can sew clothes. I can do this. Again, if you're not in those nerdy spaces, it does seem like, oh, this is the perfect storm. And these people have Oh, they can scaffold this whole story. There are too many Mary Sues in the story. But again, if you are not a gamer or a cosplayer, you don't know that many nerdy people, I promise you, this is very plausible. It's very plausible depending on the skill sets that and the groups that you run in. And again, the tube in London, there's millions of people that go through that subway station every day. And smart people in a pinch will come together to form Voltron and protect themselves. And I think that's just what happened here. I know a lot of people, I'm not a cosplayer. I do low key cosplaying. Like I'll come dressed as a background character to work or something like that. But I just thought that was, I thought the critiques said maybe more about the people than an actual criticism of the book, because I didn't find it unrealistic at all. I just think that it depends on the circles you run in, and it depends on your experiences. Anywho, one of the main things, though, that the reason why I think Elm had all these different characters with all these different skill sets is everyone has something to contribute. Everybody does. They end up caring so much about one another. When members of their group or troop pass on, they don't want them to be alone as they're being consumed by these zombies or turning into zombies. And so while they don't end up sacrificing themselves, because one of them does end up getting bitten when they do a last minute run to this local hospital to get more supplies because Noah has an infection. Jake is going to run out of testosterone, and Liv is on treatment for her previous addictions. So she's taking pills to help stabilize that. A lot of folks, maybe you don't know or are not aware, but if you have had any kind of addiction issues, so that you don't go through withdrawals, and sometimes you could even die. Some people can die from and it's not just hard drugs. If you are an alcoholic, you can't just cut off drinking just like that. You have to slowly taper yourself off, and you have to have help because you can die. That's how Nathan Ellison died, the guy who was in Elementary. He played Lafayette on True Blood, that black guy. He died that way. He was taking a medication because he was an alcoholic, and he was really embarrassed about it, but he was taking that medication and he died because something went wrong with the medication or whatever. That's why he had to get off that show, Elementary, with Lucy Liu. Anywho, she's the best Watson ever. The best Watson ever. Don't fight me on it because I'm right. Anywho, the whole point of that is, I think, all these different characters with all these different skill sets is that everybody has something to contribute. And you never know how that's going to play out until you're thrown into these situations. Anywho, let's see what time it is. Oh, okay, let's wrap it up. So pardon me. They end up hunkering down at Jake's home. They are trying to wait for word from the government to see what is going on. As they go out to find supplies, I was going to say raid, but it has connotations. As they go to find supplies in the sporting goods stores, they meet another group of people. The Jake's group, they put people on watch so that they can watch out for these warblers. I forget what they called their zombies. I think they call them crusties and something else. But they also have to keep watch at night for marauders and people who are going and ransacking these abandoned homes. The overall arching thing that I really liked in this book, though, is that most people during this time of crisis were actually quite helpful. They didn't actually turn on one another. And I like that because that's actually backed up by science. That's backed up by studies. Most of the time in these huge world and cataclysmic events, people seek to help one another. Some of y'all might be familiar with N.K. Jemisin. She did the, what is the name of her series? I can't think of it. Thousand Year Tree series. I can't think of it, but N.K. Jemisin is a wonderful sci-fi author, and she had done some research for one of her series that proved that in time of crisis, most of the time people do try to help one another. They don't actually turn on one another like we have seen in TV shows and movies and whatnot. You can see it in any of our recent tragedies. I'm going to go back several years to Katrina. A lot of people were trying to help one another in Katrina. In the Superdome, they were trying to protect one another from different gang members or just bad situations. So, Puerto Rico, in the last hurricane they had, I think it might have been Maria. Forgive me if I don't have that right, but they're out there clearing debris, helping their neighbors, taking food and water to them, making sure they had shelter. So I really like that aspect of this book, where for the most part, people were trying to help and support one another. That's actually how we ended up losing the Francis, the nurse, is because the Jake and his team were trying to help this other group of people who were mostly made up of children, women and children, and a few able-bodied people, not as many who were in Jake's group. Which goes to show Jake and them just lucked out. They could have been with this group who I think they had 3 or 4. I think they had 3 out of their group who were strong enough and agile enough to go and forage and go look for supplies and medicine and things like that. Meanwhile, almost everybody in Jake's group could do it unless they were injured. So everybody, even the dog, was put on watch. Karma was out there barking at zombies to keep them away. And so again, I thought that the story overall was well written, great world building. Oh, the other aspect that I really liked about this is, since it's takes place in England, they don't have easy access to guns like we do in America. So they couldn't just pick up a bazooka and go, they move out the way. There was none of that, because they don't have access to guns the same way we do in this country. So they really had to innovate. They really had to use what they had and make do, which I really thought was quite amazing, because even though there's guns all over this country, I was about to lie and say, I don't have one. I do in my house. But I don't know where the bullets are, and that's by design, to keep everybody safe, including myself. But I do have a gun in my house. Anywho, but everybody ain't like me. Y'all don't have guns, or any kind of bow and arrow or weapons or anything. And so because of that, they had to really be innovative and makeshift and really form close bonds with people, because they really depended on these folks for their own survival. And I think that's probably a good place for us to end. The underlying story, they're overarching questions. Again, when the world falls apart, who do you become, and who are the real monsters? That's the overlying question. The underlying theme of the whole book is, sometimes the family we end up with is the one that we create ourselves. There is a discussion of loss of family. Jake's dad did not necessarily understand his transness. Hold on one second, y'all. Pardon me. He didn't quite accept him, but these people do. And Jake found new people, a new family, who would care for him and love him just the way that he is. His mother, she a zombie now. Sorry to you, Miss Jake mommy. She was trying to help Jake and his father reconcile, but that never came about because they never were able to reach Jake's father. And that's because this is a series. This is the How We Survive series. The first book is How We End. The second book is actually a novella. The first and second book are available through Libby. Yes, Libby. I was about to say Hoopla, but it's Libby. The third book I think that's only available on Kindle. I haven't read the second book, but please feel free to check it out. If you hadn't had a chance to read this print copy, we have a couple, I think there's 1 or 2 left. on the AANHPI display here at LAM. Please come and check out a book. You can read this. You can tell me what you think about it. Come back and watch this. You can watch the replay and let me know if you liked it. Also, book 1 and book 2 are available as audiobooks on Libby. I hope that you guys get a chance to come check it out. Oh, also, before I talk about my next book, let me get my little flyer out because I got an announcement. Here we go. So let's see, just a quick announcement. Summer reading is on its way, y'all. We're going to have our summer reading kickoff Friday, June the 5th from 2 to 4 at Rawlings Library. That's 100 East Abriendo Avenue. Please go. The first 200 children, maybe it's 300. Y'all are going to get a free book, Dogman book, but you got to be among the first 200 to get there. I keep saying 200. I think it's 300. Just get there. It starts at 2. So get there. Start lining up at 1:30, y'all. There's going to be all kind of cool stations for you to check in. There's a cooling off station so you don't get too hot. There's going to be prizes and games. I really hope that y'all all can go. We're going to be doing summer reading June and July. There's going to be all kind of prizes and whatnot. Please stop by your local branch of Pueblo Library so that you can learn about summer reading and you can sign up and get your game boards and get your read on all summer. We're going to have a wonderful time. I hope that you can come. Next, that was the announcement. Next month's book is Verity Vox and the Curse of Foxfire by Don Martin. This book is also available in print and it is available in an audiobook format. This is wonderful. This is such a really good book. It takes place in Appalachia. It is about a witch in training. Her name is Verity Vox. She has to answer the call for help to complete her training. She has a year to do it. And my goodness, there is a curse of Foxfire. Y'all, I keep talking about how I don't like scary books, and half of my books this year have been scary, haunty. There's monsters and heroes and everything. So maybe I just didn't realize I like a certain type of scary book. Anywho, thank y'all so much for giving me a little bit of your time. I appreciate you. Please join me again. Oh, I did not put the date. It's going to be June. It's going to be the third Thursday in June at 4 o'clock. What's the third Thursday in June, friends? I don't know. Hold on one second, though. Let me look at my little map here. I said map. My little, what do you call it? What do you call it, y'all? Calendar. The third Thursday in June is the 18th. That's right before Juneteenth. So June 18th at 4 p.m. Be here or be square. Be there or be square. And we can talk about Verity Vox and the Curse of Foxfire by Don Martin. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will see you here next month. I didn't even tell y'all to sign up for the newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter, friends. It's on the page. Click the link, sign up, and you can get all of the discussion questions. You'll see the interviews that I am referencing when I talk about interviews and themes and whatnot. Okay, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, live stream viewers. Thank you, replay viewers. I will see you next month. Bye.